Greetings to everyone present here today on July 15th, 2023 at the LGBT Center in the West Village of New York City, as well as those online on Zoom everywhere. Welcome all. This program is being recorded, and if you would not like to be viewed, you can move your chair away from the camera, but I hope that you can still be with us. Okay, my name is Nick Curto, and I'm the co-founder and director of Disclosure Network New York. There is no doubt in all of our 23 years that the Disclosure Network New York group has been meeting together, that this is certainly one of the most important meetings that we have ever had. Let that sink in for a second. DNNY is a grassroots organization whose motto from day one was and still is, quote, connecting the dots to seek truth, unquote. We were from the very beginning and still are inspired by Dr. Stephen Greer's cutting edge research, as well as others, as well as we go deep into UFO and paranormal areas, as well as many other major and important issues that require careful and detailed research. I'm so proud of our amazing group of wonderful and dedicated men and women in our membership. We now have a membership not only in New York City, but in many other states of the US and other countries as well. Very, very proud of that. We meet for the first Sunday of each month at the LGBT Center in the West Village of New York City from 2:30 to 4 p.m. ET. And on Zoom, online, and that's the second Wednesday of each month from 7:30 p.m. till 9 p.m., again, ET. This very special meeting today is an outreach, meditation, and prayer meeting for the first part of the program. And then we'll do a think tank open discussion and hope you can all join in on that part of the program. With that said, let's get right to it. First, I'm now going to provide a very, very brief background of Val Thor's encounter and revealed data for those who may not be familiar with him or his important mission that he's on, still is. I suggest that you also do your own research on Val Thor. That's V-A-L, second name is T-H-O-R. And there are now many new books on the subject. I'd be very happy to provide you with the titles of these books by email as well, if you'd like that. Some of the latest books are now found on the Amazon website, and they're dynamite. Val Thor is a humanoid alien and is very much alive and well. He came from Central Control, also called the High Council, which is a group of leaders who preside over the commissioning of off-world missions to other planets. And the planet they're from is Venus. The Venetian civilization is located in the subterranean hollow of their planet, and we've learned that that's not the only civilization that is underground. It's really interesting. On March 16th, 1957, at 8 a.m., a 300-foot spacecraft landed on the Farmers Field in Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia to be exact. Local police quickly arrived on the scene with guns drawn, expecting the worst. Let me just fix my screen for a moment. Sorry, folks. I didn't want you to see that. Okay, here we go. Val Thor emerged from the spacecraft and gently approached the two police officers and politely asked to speak to the United States president. And a careful process of screening followed very quickly, where he was asked to submit to immediately, which he did. He was asked a battery of questions, and he answered every one of them in perfect English. Later, they learned that he could easily speak many other world languages very well indeed. Interesting to know that Val's silver colored, snug-fitting, very modern clothes were soon tested with his permission by the military, and his clothes could not be destroyed in any way whatsoever. They tried and failed to put even a small hole in them. To set them on fire, they tried to laser his outfit or tear it apart. Nothing worked. Another fact that's interesting is his one-piece uniform weighed 6 ounces, and that included the boots. So whatever that was made of, that is amazing. No buttons, zippers, or any visible attachments were in his clothes or could be seen. When Val put on his clothes, they slowly closed on his body as if by magic, and no one could see where they came together, and they were seamless. I know that technology does exist. A little bit more about Val. Val was then allowed to do his first of many visits to the president. After transferring to an underground train, which we know they have, Val Thor sped towards the White House, where 6 officers, 6 armed guards, and 3 Secret Service men escorted him into the President Eisenhower's office. Val represented the High Galactic Council, and his mission was to travel to planet Earth and to offer cutting-edge technical information on new, powerful power sources that were totally non-polluting and that could fully power our entire planet. Also, advance medical data for the population to live much, much longer and be far more healthier, as his planet's population already does. And to provide us with far better ways to grow food to feed our entire population of the world, and much, much more. However, and here it comes, this major upsteading of our new age of plenty and enlightenment to our planet would be offered in exchange for all governments and powerful groups worldwide to absolutely promise their total abstaining from all forms of weapons of war, including nuclear and atomic bombs, and weapon development for war technologies. The High Council deeply felt that what our planet was aggressively doing would lead to a total destruction of planet Earth and everyone in it. And these powerful weapons also, and this is interesting, affect other planets and other planetary civilizations as well. And that these huge and very dangerous and powerful time warp waves disrupt much of our neighbors, and that needs to be totally stopped. That was their offering. Val was here to make contact with all these various groups worldwide for the proposed agreement. President Eisenhower then offered Val Thor to be allowed to stay in DC and to travel anywhere, any place that he wanted to go, and also to be housed, and listen to this, at the Pentagon for his entire stay in an apartment there. And his stay ended up lasting a total of 3 years. Well, I find that amazing. Val preferred to work with the US government scientists interested in putting men safely into space for peaceful purposes. Dr. Wernher von Braun once made the statement, and I'm quoting, quote, "I can't say anything more, but I can tell you that we have had help from people of other planets," unquote. I remember when he said that. At one point during his stay in April of 1957, Val and his crew traveled to the home of Howard Menger, a researcher for UFO technology, and his wife Connie, who hosted an outdoor UFO meeting of ufologists at their home in High Bridge, New Jersey. Now, this is interesting. That town right now is planning to proceed to plan a special entire weekend celebrating Val Thor and his crew's visit, and that will be done next summer in 2024. We're all looking forward to that. At the end of his outreach, after 3 long years, he was told that the final decision regarding his offer from the High Council of his planet was that our planet could not take him up on his offer, that the answer had to be no, and that no agreement could be reached. With that, he and his crew left to report back to his planet. In many folks' opinions, that was a huge, devastating, and catastrophic mistake that impacts us all to this very, very day. Right now in 2023, we are dangerously close to nuclear war. Every day, threats of nuclear war are in the news every single day, every single hour at an alarming rate. We are here today seeking help when all of the worldwide news organizations are reporting that our planet is dangerously close to nuclear war, more so than ever before, and that more countries are now have nuclear weapons, and those countries include the United States, Russia, China, Korea, the United Kingdom, France, Pakistan, India, Israel, and North Korea. And that number is growing. This situation is as urgent as it gets. An organization who provides daily data on this form of data is called the Doomsday Clock Report to the World, and has reported that they have displayed their data for many, many years, and that right now we are at an alarmingly close to 12 noon, near the top of the clock. It's never been that close. This could not be worse news, and this is real. With that said, let us now proceed with a few requests of meditation and prayers for help. It has been suggested that 68 seconds is the amount of time needed for our minds to connect with the universe and for the universe to connect with us. So for the first 68 seconds, here we go. This first respectful and heartfelt request is dedicated to Val Thor, and to once again, to please contact us. We ask that you let all humanity on this planet join you now in your request for the end of all nuclear and atomic weapons development. No living thing can survive atomic or nuclear war. And such a fate as total destruction and devastation to Earth must be stopped right now. We are ready to work with you, Val, to inform the world that we are to bring others into this movement, and we will do everything we can to do that. That, Val, is our request. We want you to contact us back. Let there be a silence now for 68 seconds as we all meditate and pray. Al Rainbow, sitting to my left, has a stopwatch and he's about to set it. We're ready to go? Okay. For 68 seconds, let's have quiet. Thank you, Hal. We've got Hal doing the clock and we're trying to contact Val. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so here we go with that. We've done this. Okay. This next respectful and heartfelt request is directed to Jesus. For those of us who are followers of you and your teachings, as told in the Urantia book and the Bible, we ask that you help us to outreach as citizens of the world and together reach out to all world leaders to understand that from now on they must rule in total peace and harmony, making all forms of war and atomic weapons and nuclear weapons obsolete forever. All governments must join in saving planet Earth from the ravages of war. We ask not only for ourselves, but for all the generations to come on our planet. Not one should ever live in fear of war. May peace always prevail. Jesus, that is our respectful request that we're sending up for you. We're reaching out for you now. Let there be a silence again for 68 seconds where we all meditate and pray. How we keep a time. Let there be total clarity. Thank you, Hal. Thank you, everybody. For our final prayer meditation, my dear friend, Tom Garber, who will be doing this meditation and prayer from the Zoom area. Tom, if you go ahead with your part.
Okay, this is a prayer that comes from the Japan-based religious organization called Seisho no Ye. They hold meetings every Sunday, which I attend along with Carol Cannon and many other people. This prayer is called the Prayer for World Peace, and it contains two parts, the prayer itself and the affirmation. And I'll just simply read it all the way through, including the affirmation. God's infinite love flows into us and shines forth from us as a brilliant spiritual light of love. The spiritual light of love grows and grows in intensity, covering the entire world and filling the hearts of everyone with thoughts only of love, peace, order, and the truth of oneness in God. The life of Almighty God permeates the universe, and the universe is thus blessed with perfect peace and grand harmony now and forevermore. Amen. Okay. I think that what might be relevant, some of the teachings of this group that come directly from Buddhism. There are also teachings that come from the school of thought known as New Thought. But what I think is particularly relevant that comes from Buddhism is that the teaching of Buddhism is that nothing exists other than what was created by God. And everything that God created is perfect. And there is no other creator but God. Therefore, anything that is not perfect is non-existent, and this includes sin, sickness, and death. all of these things are not perfect, therefore they were not created by God, and since there's no other created but God and everything that God created is perfect, they don't exist. So they teach that there is the world that most of us live in all the time is known as the phenomenal world, and there is also the true image world. In the true image world, which is the real world, there is no sin, sickness, and death. And the reason that we think that we live in a world full of sin, sickness, and death is because we are having something like a bad dream. We're deluded. We don't know the truth. The truth is that these things don't exist. I think that this is a very, very interesting concept from Buddhism, which many people have probably not heard before. I had certainly never heard it before. So they also teach that the purpose of our lives is to try to wake up. You know, the Buddha, the original Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, was known, the word Buddha means the enlightened one. He awoke to the truth, right? And so our purpose in life is to try to awake to the truth and to try to manifest as much as possible here in the phenomenal world, the true image world. And so another concept that I think is extremely relevant to what we're talking about here is that the Japanese word for sin is actually, that comes from the same root word as the word in Japanese for concealment. And the idea is that the people who dwell in sin, the truth is concealed from them. If they were to awaken to the real truth of, as it says in the prayer, of oneness in God, everyone is one in God, and only thoughts of love, peace, and order, and the truth of oneness in God, we wouldn't have any warfare, we wouldn't have any nuclear weapons, right? So it's not something that they need to be punished for. It's something that we need to feel compassion for them for, because they have created a sort of a prison of delusion in their minds that prevents them from being connected to the real truth of God and the true image world where there is no sin, sickness, and death. So I think that I better probably yield to someone else now. And so thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us all. Now we'd like to take 68 seconds again to a meditation. Ready to go? Hang on a second. We're going to be doing that in just a moment. Get the timer here. Okay. Well, here we go. 68. Everybody, let's have silence. Mm-hmm. Okay, time is up. Thank you, everyone. Again, thank you, Thomas, for doing that. That was quite beautiful. So, all right. So with that done, with our prayer and meditation sessions, I'm going to go to an announcement I have, a wonderful announcement. And this is coming from Karen Wallow, Wallo, in New Jersey. She has been working very, very hard to put together a program similar to our program today. That's going to be an outreach specifically to Val Thor. And that will be going on tomorrow, Sunday, July 16th, at the Cranberry Inn in Cranberry, New Jersey. The special event is open to everyone. For more details, you may contact me today, and by tonight, I will provide the details to you. You may reach me at my email. My email address is NICKNYNY1, and that's the numeral 1, at gmail.com. Repeating it, NICKNYNY1 at gmail.com. Some of us will be going from DNA, going there from New York to attend this event. 50 people are the maximum number of guests for the private room for this luncheon at the Cranberry Inn. I understand it's a very beautiful place. There will be well-known guest speakers there also. And I know that one of them, at least, is going to be doing a PowerPoint presentation. Karen Wallow is to be congratulated for putting on this wonderful New Jersey outreach event together this coming weekend. Karen, we love you for doing this. Thank you so very much. We will email the details for the New Jersey event tonight to everyone that's interested. Karen needs to know the number of people that will be there. And if she does record it, I'll also get that information from her, and I'll put it out there on the web. We can let you know the best. We can let you know the best way to travel to Cranberry, New Jersey, for either public transportation or by car. Okay, with that said, let's go now to a discussion that we can all do. I'm going to start with the people online, and then we'll also go then to our group here. So let's start with Tom. Tom, the content of today's program, tell us what your thoughts are about it.
Well, of course, I agree that it is the most important thing that we can try to achieve on the earth, right? And I have the impression that it's a very steep uphill climb to try to really do it, right? I have the impression that if we were to try to actually get this message into the email boxes or the ears of the people who are really responsible for all of this, which is, the heads of state of all the countries of the world, and of course all the ambassadors at the United Nations and all these kinds of people, it wouldn't work, right? We could send emails and we would receive no reply. We could find an email address, a general email address for an organization, like, let's say, the United Nations itself, or, Congress, or, the Senate here in America, or, let's say the, whatever they call it in what used to be the Soviet Union, that's now simply Russia. It would just be, it would be cast aside, right? That's what I think would happen. So what options do we have, right? I think, the main option that we have is to live this life ourselves, to be ourselves an example, to try to convince everyone who sees us and talks to us and works with us and so on, that this is the path that is necessary. And that then it could be like a snowball rolling down a hill, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Once they were convinced by our thoughts and the words that we say to them and how we live and so on, that they would be convinced themselves, and then they would in turn live the way we do, and they would get followers, until it got to be really big, so that it was so big that the people who are opposed to it, couldn't withstand the pressure anymore. That they would sort of like be painted into a corner and they would have no choice but to adopt this. And that's, that's what I'm describing is not easy and it's not quick, but I would say that I don't see any other way for it actually to become a reality. I guess I'll turn over to other people now.
Thank you very much for that, Paul. Bruce, I'm going to go to you now. And Bruce, you're, I believe in Texas. Is that correct? You got to unmute. Got to unmute.
Oh.
There you go.
Yes.
In Texas.
I live in Texas.
Right. You came in for this this session now. Do you have any thoughts too about what we're doing and about what's the dynamics of this situation are?
I think that it is out of our control. Basically, that the government is trying as best as it can, those in the Congress, to bring this to public light and understanding, but they're only going to go so far because there are those who do not want the truth to get out. And I think the truth is a lot more difficult for people to accept than a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, no, I can understand how you would feel that way, of course. All right, thank you for that. We can go back to you a little bit. Oh, Amy, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
So glad you could join us, Amy. Amy's from New York City. Amy, you came in a little into the program, but what we were doing now is trying to navigate our way towards helping in whatever way we can to stop the atomic and nuclear war that seems to be more upon us now than ever before. All the news daily and hourly is talking about nuclear threats, never more so than right now. And what are your feelings about that situation and ways to what we can do?
Yeah, there's an organization called the International Council Against Nukes. I get all their emails, and they are, despite all their best efforts, here we are. I think that the diabolical, despotic psychopaths of Davos, the World Economic Forum crowd that owns the United Nations, that are financed by Rothschild and Rockefeller and BlackRock and Vanguard, I think they actually want a nuclear war. They're so crazy, they would rather rule over the ashes of a depopulated, desecrated, desolate planet than lose power and be dismantled and jailed for life under a Nuremberg 2.0 for their crimes against humanity, the scandemic, the climate fraud, the international banking, central bank digital currency, no cash scams, all about total slavery. And they know that people are starting to wake up and resist. So they're just doubling down. And if this whole Build Back Better bullshit is literally about destroying everything so that they can create their dystopian, neo-feudal, synthetic biology, nanotech, robotized, matrix-like machine world of complete control and slavery, where 90% of the useless eaters are gone and they can turn the survivors into compliant robot slaves with their synthetic biology and nanotech. And if they can't get it one way, they'll get it another way, even if they have to nuke 90% of the population to get rid of us. And it's terrifying. I frankly don't know how to stop it other than by a lot of powerful prayer and meditative work, being as human as possible, like I do through my performances, through not complying. I have a landline, a wired computer, a wired monitor. I will not use those infernal, diabolical mobile devices that are meant to addict you and condition you into becoming a compliant robot slave. It is terrifying. I think it's since it's also very much a war on the spiritual plane. I think we just have to support the anti-nuclear peace movements like I can. Absolutely. Code Pink, even though they're god awful COVIDiots, hypochondriacs, they do good anti-war work. Um, and um, and try to wake up more people to the dangers. I mean, they're trying to send cluster bombs and depleted uranium, which is absolute. Depleted uranium is pure poison to Ukraine, and these cluster bombs do nothing but hurt, maim, and kill innocent people. I mean, and Ukraine is ground zero for experimenting with this robotized, dysfunctional synthetic biology world that the globalist predators want to create. And Monsanto is grueling to get their glyphosate and Agent Orange poison hands on that gorgeous black rich soil in Ukraine so that they can make all their GMO and herbicide and pesticide ridden crops in that area instead of proper organic food. It's just terrible in every possible way you can think of.
Well said, Amy. Well said. Excellent points. Thank you so much for your commentary there. I'd like to go now to Peter. You look like you're relaxing, so I'm going to skip you and we'll come back to you if you like, okay?
Just relaxing. I need to just chill out as I worked out.
Right. Oh, not a problem. Doreen's here. Doreen, come closer, please. And just so that you're right on camera. And Doreen, just if you will, any just thoughts about what we're talking about today? Anything you'd like to add?
Well, I think everyone said an enormous amount of information that is so relevant. How I see it, I know we cannot change other people, and that has to come from inside yourself. You have to recognize the light instead of living in the darkness. And eventually they will swallow up each other. These people who think, they're going to control the world. It's just absolute nonsense. There is judgment. Everybody will have it. And we have plenty of overseers that love us on this planet. They just cannot interfere. They cannot make us what we're not. We have to grow and recognize and realize that the love is the only thing that works in the world. When you spread goodwill and you love other people, come from your heart and soul. Open it up. And I agree with all the things that was said in the sense that we cannot walk around angry and we'll deplete that energy and we'll come, to the same level as many of these other people are. Because what happens is the world resonates on the most beautiful, highest sound and it just goes right through us and lifts us. And if we're all lifted by that resonance, it's so divine and it's so extraordinary. It just reverberates through every being that's here. And I try to think of the positive things, and those people who don't, it's this judgment, they're going to have theirs someday. Nobody's going to live forever, and they will just destroy themselves, like Satan and Lucifer and all those others did. When you think you could control the world and you're so great, and you know everything is nothing. How sad is that? They don't have any sense in their heart and soul what it is to be human. what it is to really look up and see the beauty in people instead of the ugly, and try to measure everything by what they think is right. That doesn't work. God doesn't even do that, and he could do anything because he loves us too much to try to control us, and lets us have all the experiences we need to have. And that experience helps us to recognize what to choose. Where do we go? What choices do we make? Do we go with the group think and try to belong to this sickness out there? Or we stand as individuals in this world and raise our unconsciousness and spread the goodwill out to people and offer the kindness and the generosity that we can to anybody we need. And I try to do this a lot where I live. And just, can I help you? How can I serve you? What can I do? It's not about us and our selfishness and our what we want. What is all the material things in the world going to do for you? It's not going to make a better world for sure. All it is going to surround yourself, and you'll still be that miserable person. But the relationships that we form, the loving relationships we form in this world, is everything. It's just everything. Otherwise, we live a very lonely, mean life. And no matter what you have, it is not the sincerity that you need to have. You need to come from that level of consciousness where God speaks through you and out to others. And all love comes from above. All love and goodness, and it comes from God, and it comes through us and resonates out to others. And that's the way I understand that the world will change. It may take 100 years, 200 years, however long. So it doesn't matter, because this is kindergarten here. I know after here, it's going to be extraordinary. But how many will survive? That's the point. To go to the next level where there is just an extraordinary wonderment. We would not even know. We'd probably think they say that it's paradise, but it isn't. It's just higher than us. And the people that come to visit our world, these star students and everything, they can't force people here to do anything. You could share, you could uplift, you can give some ideas, and maybe that's how we got the computers and all, because when they found those crafts that crashed, and they didn't understand how to interpret all the things on their screen. So now we do. So here, little by little, we will come to where we have to go. And we will all, I suppose they say, a rising tide lifts all ships. It probably will happen, probably not in my lifetime. But I know that's the destiny. It is not how we live today. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much for that.
Amazing, Amy, eccentric yoga.
Over here. Hold on, Amy, please. We're going to go one. Amy, please. Amy, please don't do that. We're going to go one by one here now.
Okay.
So hang on, please. Okay, Al, Rainbow, there you are. And Al, please, if you're going to make some comments.
Okay, building off a lot of what Doreen just said, I think it's a lot of what can be done. It's a matter of concentration and action. We have to act for ourselves. We can't just wait for somebody to do something. And we also can't revel in the fact that there's all these terrible groups and all these terrible people, because if that's where your sole concentration is, nothing's going to get done, and you're basically going to live in fear. There are systems. We do have elections, and it's a matter of if you, instead of saying, well, the elections are rigged and you can't do anything about it, work with the elections. Do what you can to fix things. Work with either what we have or what you have to add in to make things more positive, as opposed to just saying, as I said, all this is terrible. And even on the subject of Val Thor, his mission is fantastic. If it could happen, it would be more than incredibly wonderful. But given what we have today, if he went to the world leaders now, it would be an interesting problem to solve, that their general reaction, or anybody's general reaction, would be, well, that's an incredible AI tech. So, again, you have to work with what's there, figure out ways to fix it, and then go ahead. And I think, that's my thoughts on the subject.
Thank you very much, Val. Now, if you would exchange seats with Lorraine, come over here so we can get you on camera. Careful there. Okay. And come over here, Lorraine, and I'm so glad that you're here.
How you doing?
And there you are. Okay.
I have a totally different
Well,
opinion.
look at this, what this is
Okay.
for. This is a forum, so
Because
please.
I think we should go after our government's pockets. I think that's the only way they're gonna listen.
Come closer.
The other thing is, okay, I think that they've been lying to us for the last 2,000 years. And I think it's just catching up to them. I think that UFOs really don't exist. I believe they're government planes. I believe they were found in different locations on the earth. I think someplace like New York, I think there are things underneath New York, the bedrock, that we haven't even dug up, okay? And I think that they make it a point to build these fabulous buildings so that nobody ever looks in there, because we're told that this is the youngest continent, which I don't believe. There's a lot of things. I mean, I think that I think things are getting to a point where they're kind of like pushing the envelope. Things that were taboo are now the mainstream. There's a lot of things going on that people accept and they never would have accepted 50 years ago. And they're just pushing the envelope. Not only that, now, if you notice, they have all television things where they're going to court, they're questioning the government officials, but you notice that nobody's going to jail. They're just depleting our monetary system. They keep on taking it every single day. It's about $1.5 million, maybe even more. They just keep on depleting and depleting and depleting our revenue. I want to see them going to jail. Okay, I want to see these assholes go to jail. Okay, I'm sick of hearing the rhetoric of what this one's fighting with this one and this one's fighting with this one. I want to see somebody go to jail. And it is within our power, because you know what? Remember one thing, we run their businesses, okay? Without workers, they'd be up the creek, okay? And not only that, I mean, I think that the whole thing, like, for example, give you an example. I've been following, I went to the movie, Courage of Freedom, which I thought was very interesting. And since it's a format, I just want to tell you, I thought it was ironic that I think Tim Ballard was a very monumental person. Okay, he worked for the Secret Service, but I just want to tell you, all his money is going to the Democratic Party. That's number one. Nothing goes to the children. Okay, that's number one. Number two, okay, Mel Gibson, who I thought I liked until a couple of days ago. Mel Gibson is very good friends with Donald Trump, who I used to like also. I'll be honest with you, I'm back to square one again. I don't like any party. I think they're all full of shit. I think none of them have our best interests at heart. I think they're in for just what's in their pocket. And if it has to be stepping over people, well, then they're going to do that. I'm very, very sad of what's going on in the world as far as UFOs and Thorpe. I mean, his name is Thor, right? I believe that did happen to a certain degree, but I also thought it was theatrics. I'm one who believes that UFOs are just human technology, because there's a lot of missing pieces in our history and civilization. As a matter of fact, I can't think of the archaeologist's name, but he knows for a fact that most religions are just man-made. And I never thought that I would say that, but a lot of it is man-made. There's a lot of holes in our history. And not only that, because they tell us it's top secret, human beings can't see it, they don't know how to think for themselves, and that started with Thomas Jefferson. Okay, Thomas Jefferson didn't even want school at one time because he didn't want an intelligent civilian population, and I think that's just still the case. I think that we're in bad shape. I really do. I think that And I don't think anybody's doing it to us. I think we're doing it to us. We're the demons. We're the devils. Nobody else. We like to blame it's somebody up in space. I got news for you. It's us. We don't need any demons. We have enough of them right here. Okay. Human beings are the worst perpetrators of all. Okay. And the reason why is because, you know what, I'm going to say something that's not going to be popular, but I think most of us are a bunch of cowards. Okay. People need to, pull up their bootstraps and get down to brass tacks, as they say, because you know what, nothing's going to get better. It's just going to get worse. And you know what, they need to be accountable for what they're doing. And that's all I have to say.
Lorraine, thank you so much for your comments there. Folks, you can see why I'm so proud of the organization Disclosure Network New York, the men and women in it. We think for ourselves. We're not accepting the party line, no matter what country is doing it, and we're out for the truth. And we're going to take the truth no matter how hard it is to accept it. If it is true, even if it's not what we want or like, we need to take a look at that in order to clear the deck of what's real and then go from there. A couple of comments I have just to close this. I think that the whole idea of secrecy, and certainly some of our better politicians have said that, is a weapon of total manipulation, total control. And that has been going on forever, and that's got to be looked at. When we still don't know the real reason why the World Trade Center came down and who was in back of it, when we still don't know all of the facts about the assassination of John F. Kennedy, if we don't, and there are good people still pursuing that, but the official story is total fantasy. And we shouldn't accept those lies. We can't do that. Not only for ourselves, but for the generations to come. They need to know what's real. And that has to happen. I'm optimistic, I think, in terms of the spirituality of reaching out to our spiritual, the spiritual people that we love and trust, ask for their help, also to each other. And I think that education is going to play a huge part. Lorraine, you talked about the movie again. What was the name of that movie? What was the name of the movie? What was it? Was that the name of the movie?
I know it had freedom in it.
I don't know if that's the title of it though. But
Yeah.
Is it okay? But the point I'm trying to make here is that there are a lot of people who really couldn't begin to look at what was happening to the children that were being abducted, that were being sexually handled, that were being killed. And it was such a horrible subject that most people couldn't handle even discussing it. And that movie has been a tool towards enlightenment and a tool towards saying, we've got to look at this no matter how ugly this is. We've got to look at this and we've got to work to stop it. Enough is enough. And I think that the same can be true for educating people as to what is really happening now. Another thing, and this is the good news and the bad news, because there's both. In the last year or so, we have been hearing from the government, especially the United States government, about UFOs. They were giving us lies since the 40s, telling us that they didn't exist, telling us that they didn't care about that subject whatsoever, and doing everything they can to call us all conspirators of total fabrications of lies, when we could see for ourselves that there were craft in our own skies. And we photographed them. My group has got photographs of various places in the United States, especially New York City. We've been on trips where during the day as well as night, we have spotted as a group UFOs, even over Manhattan, as well as other places upstate and other situations too. And so we know they're real. The question is, are they ours? Ours being reconfigured by a government, our government, and other governments, or are they theirs? In other words, ETs. Dr. Stephen Greer said one time when I was interviewing him, he said, if they get close, take a look at the structure of them and see if you're seeing one solid craft, or a craft that's made up of different parts with almost welding or places to hold the craft together. If you're seeing the welding and craft together, that is ours. If it's one solid piece, that is futuristic and well done manufactured craft. That's theirs. That's an interesting point, and I wanted to put that in here. Education's got to be one of the movers and shakers that people are going to have to wake up and say, this is what we've got, and it's not good enough for us or our kids or their kids. It's not good enough. We won't take it anymore. Well, there's many more of us than there are of the few controllers. Another part of this plan, which we can obviously see, is the whole thing of the inoculations for supposedly this plague that was talk about Bill Gates and all that planning way years ago. They were talking about this, and then boom, here we are with an epidemic, and they were on all of the stations, radio, television, everything saying, get your inoculation now. They're good. It's not going to hurt you. And look what's happened. Hundreds of thousands of people, men, women, and children of all ages have died. Athletes on the field, big athletes, both men and women, have keeled over and died. People online that have been on stage and in various public arenas have keeled over in the middle of their speech and passed out and died. And they all have one thing in common. They took the vaccine. Now, we know that there's different vaccines, and some of them are loaded with products that will not make you healthy, but will kill you. This has got to be stopped, researched, and all the people, like we were saying, that are involved in this total hoax and this depopulation need to be jailed after a fair trial, and not given any outs with a smart lawyer that will get out in 5, 10, 20 years. No. But once they've done something like this, crimes of humanity, they need to be fully prosecuted to the extent of the law. That has to happen, and that goes for all countries. Also, there was a mention of the World Economic Forum run by Klaus Schwab, who in my mind can be right beside Hitler as far as what he's done and wants to do. His father was a Nazi, he's a Nazi, and that is alive and well. And this is very well planned. He has gotten people early on, young ages of people in politics, and have brought them to him and has indoctrinated them all. And as a result, we're getting a very bad government. For one example, look at Canada right now, of all places. Canada, our neighbor to the north, they are in the midst of a huge uprising because of their leader. And Trudeau has shown that he is a monster. He is not for the people at all. And guess who he learned all this from? Klaus Schwab. He was there in class, and Klaus Schwab did everything he can to cultivate him to be one of Klaus Schwab's followers. I lay a lot of the blame on Klaus Schwab and all the people that are working for him. He's got to be watched. Also, George Soros, with all his millions and billions of dollars, has done total destruction to a lot of the world's economy and also to the different countries of the world with his power, with his amazing money. And now he's let his son, who's been indoctrinated, continue on that same journey of depopulation. Again, one of the key words you're going to be hearing is depopulation. And in a lot of their websites and speeches, they are facing the camera and they're saying, listen to them carefully, we want to depopulate the world. That means killing billions and billions of people. And that's their agenda. So one more thing too before we go, and that is a comment I wanted to keep in here. one of von Braun, on his deathbed, one of the last comments was, there is a plan that's been planned for many, many years, and we're getting closer to it. And that is, listen to this, a false attack by ETs on the world population, not only with ships, but with creatures that were made to look like ETs. And the whole purpose of a false attack worldwide would be to get all the major countries of the world to get on their knees and beg that Klaus Schwab would be their leader, and that everything that Klaus Schwab stands for would be then enacted. This is the nightmare beyond nightmares. This is 1984 times a billion. And one more thing about that is that, is it happening? Well, look at what's going on now with the media and all these falsely saying we're going to be looking at the real facts of UFOs. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg. They've got huge amounts of information they've been back. People in authority have said, even on camera and behind closed doors, you have no idea of the realities of the technology that's been used for years and years. We have not a clue at what's really going on. Again, this is all secretive. This is the secrets that are going on with a very, very few people, keeping those secrets, guarding them, and killing people who will even begin to explore that. We can't be afraid to explore that and get to the truth. Okay, so that's basically the program. I just want to close with the following thoughts. I want to thank everyone, both here at the center here in New York City, Manhattan, as well as people online, for their contribution to this program today. Our next meeting at the center is scheduled for Sunday, August 6th, and that will be at 2:30 p.m. That's Eastern Time in room 304. And the next Zoom meeting, which you all can participate in, no matter where you live, will be scheduled for Wednesday, August 16th at 7:30 p.m. Again, ET, Eastern Time. Now, our website, if you'd like to go to that, you can see that by going to www.dnny.info, I-N-F-O. I'm going to repeat that, dnny.info. I want to thank everybody here, both online as well as in the room. You have my love and total respect. Thank you for participating in this. Disclosure Network New York is an ongoing organization, and we're going to get to the facts. We're going to work on every level we can think of to get to where we need to go. And the sooner the better. With that, much love to you all, no matter where you are on this planet or others. Goodbye for now. See you again soon.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Here, guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
We're out. Whoa.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you all. Oh my God. I love that. We got the recording. You'll be stopping the recording. And Jim's going to edit this. Jim will be editing this. And hang on just a second. I got it.